You're not better than me, Morgan.
From that range, you'd miss.
Damn, you're better than me, Morgan.
In Red Dead Redemption 2, there are 4 endings to Arthur's story, which I find very interesting, mainly because one of these endings is considered definitive by most people, and for good reason, but people often overlook the other endings and don't talk about them very much.
I don't really know what it means to go back for the money.
Yeah, again, it just kind of seems like we built this option, so there's an option. You can if you want to. I wouldn't recommend it.
Or redeem yourself. It's pretty plain.
And I think people should. I find it interesting because Red Dead is infamously linear with gameplay and especially story. It's a very fixed experience, which is why it's interesting that the main character can have such different conclusions depending on what you do and have major story implications. I want to explore what these endings mean for Arthur and how they all connect to the main themes of the game, and how one of these endings may be more appropriate for the story than it originally seems. Obviously, there will be spoilers for Red Dead Redemption 2 and 1, and if you haven't played or know the story, I imagine you won't get much out of this video. It's also important to note that these are just my thoughts. I can be wrong because I can be stupid. Please view this video more of a discussion than a video essay. Before we get into the endings, I think it's important to discuss the differences between a low honour and a high honour playthrough. The most apparent and obvious observation is that in low honour he's bad, while in high honour he's good, which is true, but it's a bit more complex than that. In low honour he's not completely bad, he still has morals.
It ain't my business, brother.
No, I know. But it is mine. Do it for me?
Charles, I've
saved your life. Do it for me.
Sure. Come on. You owe this man.
And in high honour, Arthur has turned into a good man, but he has still done quite a lot of bad things. The way I personally like to look at the honour system is how much Arthur has changed, low honour being not as much, high honour being more.
I ain't changed. I'm still a bad man.
In Red Dead, the protagonists do immoral and questionable things, but the difference between them and the villains is obviously the severity of their actions, but also their ability to change.
Man don't just change like the wind, Abigail. I thought you'd have known that by now.
No, Arthur, some folks change. Others is just too dumb.
The bad guys stay the same throughout their entire lives. Micah is no different from the beginning of the game, while John is practically a different person. This goes for Bill, Dutch, and to an extent Javier. Arthur has changed, but not in the same extent in a low honour playthrough than a high honour playthrough. When Arthur gets sick and becomes disconnected with Dutch, he loses his purpose.
You know, all that ever mattered to me was loyalty. It's all I knew. It's all I ever believed in. Well, not anymore, John. But I still don't believe in nothing.
Arthur's purpose within the gang was his strength.
Thank you, son, for your strength. It means a lot to me.
But when Arthur gets sick, Dutch doesn't value him anymore as he's lost his strength.
You couldn't kill no one. Look at you, all ragged and sick and weak.
Well, Arthur needs to rest. I will.
And Arthur realises that Dutch has practically been manipulating him his whole life. And I think one of the main themes of this game is purpose. I think the main reason most of the members of the gang join Dutch is because they were lost in life and have no direction, and Dutch gave him that.
You know, when I first met Dutch, I was at a low point. Real low. I was just drunk and I was angry. He cheered me up and he gave me purpose. And now I sense some of you fools are doubting him. And that makes me so angry, because he saved me. So for all you sons of bitches, you fools that are doubting him, go. Leave, just run away, just get the hell out of here. But you know what? I know you won't. None of you will. Because you're all the same. You're just like me.
You tell him, Bill.
Somebody's got him.
For sure.
He saved my life. When I was lost, he found me, and he saw something in me. But when I'm with him, I feel I can do things. Like I can be someone. Because he found me. in a gutter when I was drunk, and I was dumb, and I was lost, and he raised me up.
In this country, I spoke no English. I was afraid. I had nothing except for my fear for I left in a rush. I was starving, feeble, and alone. And then I met Dutch, and he fed me, and he clothed me, and I met all of you. This is my home now.
Who made you the messiah to these lost souls you've led so horribly astray?
I'm nothing but a seeker, Mr. Milton.
You ain't much of anything more than a killer, Mr. Vanderlinde.
His romanticized idea of the world and his confidence was extremely attractive. The endings represent what purpose Arthur gave himself at the end of his life. Now, the first ending helped John low honor. I think this ending represents his purpose, being his code. In this ending, Micah says,
"You're not better than me, Morgan."
Which, in some ways, he's right, because they're both killers, and they've both done bad things. But Arthur is better in that he at least stood for something. One of Micah's biggest crimes is that he stands for nothing. He doesn't care about anything, and he actively tries not to. Arthur may have not been a good person either, at least in this ending, but he had a code, and that included looking after the people he cared about, and that being John at the end of his life.
It's gonna be all right. We're gonna get Abigail out.
Of course we are. Because we don't leave our own behind. That's what Dutch taught us.
And he commits to that code, even when Dutch didn't, because Arthur needs something to believe in.
But what are you gonna do? Gotta see this through. Try and make some of it right. There was a code we had. Gotta still mean something.
Sure, I know. But in the time that you have left, don't compromise. Be true to yourself, Mr. Morgan.
He wasn't a good man. None of us were. But, maybe he was true to himself.
Him and his code. That pig-headed bastard. You go down easy. You get sick like that, I guess you gotta cling to something.
He was hoping to come out of it. Hope was about all he had left.
In this ending, Arthur hasn't changed, but you know that John has, and he still commits to his code, despite everything. In the Help John High Honor, I'm not going to talk about this one for very long, because it's without a doubt the most popular ending, and it's easy to understand why. In stories, we want to see the main character change and become a better person, mainly because it gives the story an actual point. But humans are social creatures, and we want people in our communities to succeed. Arthur is a very tortured person who got manipulated by Dutch, just because he was rejected by society and wanted some meaning. And now that he can see his life clearly, he can finally find it in people, which is extremely satisfying, as Arthur didn't know if he could change or be that person, but we found out that he can. Going back for the money. People express how they don't think going back for the money makes much sense because Arthur's going to die and he wouldn't need it. I think it does, because Arthur said many times about sharing the money with John and others, mainly Sadie.
There's money, lots of it, for you, me, and John.
And perhaps Arthur would want that money to potentially enjoy his last moments, even if he is going to die.
You need cash. You got a family. I need a vacation. And Dutch has all the money.
But I feel like this ending, much like helping John, going back for the money means more than that. I think the money ending represents Arthur getting revenge and taking his life back.
Dutch. Micah. Come and get me, you bastards. Dutch! I figured that you and I had some unfinished business.
I knew you wanted the money as much as any of us.
Sure. But I also wanted you, you rat. Dead.
And I think a partial reason he wants it is because of what it means to him. He spent 20 years of his life killing and stealing for Dutch, and the result being the money that Dutch is keeping to himself. So Arthur sees that money as the accumulation of his outlaw life, and he feels like he earned that.
This whole thing is pretty much done, but Dutch still has our money hidden away, so...
Well, how do you mean?
And if he doesn't get it, maybe his entire life was for nothing. Arthur's also going back for revenge, as he's been wronged by Dutch and Micah. And this might sound strange, as Arthur constantly says that revenge is a fool's game, but Arthur doesn't deny he is one. I think the purpose Arthur gives himself in this ending is pride.
And I know that you will face your destiny like a man, like a warrior, because that's what you are.
That's all I am. A fighter, a killer, and a crazy man.
So be it. You lived your way, you'll die your way.
I know your son. A little. He's very brave. Very angry. He's mean.
Do not die for pride, my son. We have suffered too much in this trick. The earth, the water, they have no pride. They endure, and we must endure.
I gotta go settle some things. For me, no one else.
I told you, Dutch, that he'd come back here to rob us, like I said he would.
I came to take what's mine.
Arthur had been manipulated his whole life by his own father figure, and this makes Arthur seem weak in his own mind, so he wanted to take it back and prove that he wasn't. Now, in the high honor ending of going back for the money, this ending is the reason I've made this video, because I thought it was very interesting that Rockstar put time into giving and modelling Micah with a scar just for this ending, and it would have been extremely easy to use that model and have him get scarred in the other go back for the money ending, but it's only in this one, which I find very interesting. The reason I say this is because it has the most parallels with John's ending.
Stop hiding, Micah!
Hey, Micah!
I've been waiting to kill you, Micah!
Damn you, Micah!
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 Where are you, Micah?
Micah!
Both John and Arthur are so close to moving on from the gang and being better, but they can't deny the people that they were, and perhaps have some kind of sunken cost fallacy.
All this wouldn't exist if it weren't for Arthur, Sadie, and all the folks as fell. If I let him go, this place ain't no more real than one of Jack's dragons.
They both know they should be better, but that life is still part of them. And this makes more sense for John to go hunt down Micah, as that's what Arthur did, despite telling John not to look back, and Arthur's teaching by example. I think in this ending, Arthur's purpose was strength. He managed to become a better person, but had to claim his life back and prove his strength to the people who wronged him. And he did manage to do that in this ending, unlike the other one, because he had earned it, he had changed, and he had become a better person, despite who he was. Thanks for watching my video. It's my first one, so please be kind. If there's anything I got wrong, please let me know. I may remake this video because I have no idea what I'm doing. But I hope you enjoyed it anyway. Goodbye.
Hello, Scarface. How's that, yours?
She's good. Didn't reckon I should waste my time wasting you, but I felt different.
So it seems.
Hello, son.